Hello everyone. Civil disobedience movement, the two steps we have already discussed. They were about the peasants, about the rich peasants and poor peasants. And now we are going to discuss about a very rich section of the society at that time, that was industrialists and the businessmen. Industrialists and businessmen, they were enthusiastic to support Gandhiji's civil disobedience movement. The reason was that the profit that they had earned during the First World War and during the non-cooperation movement, when there was boycott of foreign goods and the import of the foreign products was discouraged in India, as a result, the products of Indian producers, they were encouraged in India, as well as the businessmen and the industrialists, they earned good profits. So they decided to support Gandhiji in the civil disobedience movement in 1930 until 1932, so as to earn profit. And now they also put forward their two more demands. Their first demand was the ratio of rupees sterling to be equalized so as to discourage the foreign imports in India. As well as they also wanted that there should be no import of the British goods, and the Indian merchants, Indian industrialists and businessmen, they should refuse to buy and sell British goods, and they refuse to give them the financial assistances that they used to give earlier, and this will discourage import of the British goods in India. So these were their demands. And when the civil disobedience movement began, they even brought the reluctant members to support Gandhi. There were two prominent industrialists at that time. It is your 1 mark question. Purushottam Das, Thakur Das and G.D. Birla. Purushottam Das, Thakur Das and G.D. Birla. These were the two prominent industrialists of that time. And to protect their business, to popularize their products, two organizations were formed to fulfill this objective. This was in 1920 and in 1927. In 1920, it was Indian Industrial Commercial Congress, IICC, Indian Industrial Commercial Congress in 1920. And in 1927, FICCI, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries, FICCI, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Very important for your 1 mark question, very important for your 3 marks topics about the role of businessmen and industrialists in the civil disobedience movement. So these were the two organizations that were formed. When the civil disobedience movement began, these merchants, businessmen, industrialists, they refused to buy or sell British goods. They began to keep Indian goods in their shops, but they were highly disappointed when Gandhiji went to attend the second roundtable conference in 1932 without informing them, and the movement was called off in a way. When after the failure of the second roundtable conference, Gandhiji came back to India and called them again to revive the movement, they were not with Gandhiji. And what excuse they made to separate themselves from Gandhi? The excuse was that if we support you, there are very frequently militant activities, and that way our business gets disrupted. So this was said by the industrialists and businessmen, and when second time Mahatma Gandhi wanted to revive the movement, they were not with Gandhiji. Correct? Now we come to the next topic, that is, what was the role of the workers in the civil disobedience movement? Before I tell you about the workers' role in the civil disobedience movement, I must tell you one more topic of 3 marks. What were the sections of the Indian society during the freedom struggle which the Indian National Congress, which was set up in 1885, did not support so as to support the others? This is also very important for your board examination, and also very important to learn that what was going on among the peasants, among the workers, among the poor sections. And in the preceding chapter, we are also going to discuss about the so-called Dalits. because they were under the Sanatanis. So now I will tell you. The Congress did not support the peasants because landlords and talukdars were closely attached to the Congress, and Congress thought that if they support the interest of the peasants, it would alienate landlords and talukdars from the Congress, which were strong sections of the society. First point. So they did not support the peasants. Otherwise, landlords and zamindars and the so-called very strong section, very close to the Britishers, they will be alienated. Understand? The second one that they did not support were workers. Because if Congress supported workers, it would alienate industrialists and businessmen. The prominent one like Purushottam Das, Thakur Das and G.D. Birla, who were very close to the Congress, and many times they also gave them financial assistance to the Congress. So Congress did not support workers during the freedom struggle. So as to they are not alienated, the rich businessmen, industrialists are not alienated from the Congress. And the third section that Congress did not support during this period was the so-called Dalits. The so-called section of the society who were oppressed under the so-called Sanatanis. There was untouchability. And these Dalits, they had no access to Indian temples, wells. They could not attend the gatherings of the so-called high caste people. So Dalits. So Congress did not support Dalits also. Why? For the fear of offending the sentiments of the so-called Sanatanis. So that the sentiments of the Brahmins, they were a strong section of the society at that time, the Sanatanis or the Brahmins or the so-called higher caste, for the fear of not offending their sentiments, offending their religious feelings, so they did not support the Dalits also. So note it down, this is your 3 marks topic in between. Come back to the topic, workers. So workers' participation in the civil disobedience movement was lukewarm. Lukewarm means somewhere or the other they were there. But in 1930 and 1932, workers went on strike in railways, workers went on strike in dockyards, then workers in the Chota Nagpur Plateau region of Maharashtra, note it down for your map work, Chota Nagpur Plateau region of Maharashtra, where tin mines were there, note it down. In the tin mines, workers wore Gandhi cap and they supported Gandhiji in the civil disobedience movement. But the role of the workers was lukewarm. I told you earlier also that now there were formation of socialist groups, radical groups in India after the formation of the Communist Party in 1925. So these workers and peasants, they were better attached to these socialist groups because they were actually formed for their interest, to fulfill their demands. So now they were more attached to them. So this is your 3 marks topic again. Workers' role was lukewarm. Give example of dock workers. 1930-32, they went on strike. At many places workers went on strike. In Chota Nagpur Plateau region, particularly in the tin mines, workers wore Gandhi cap and they supported Gandhiji by boycotting foreign goods and adopting Swadeshi. That was it. Workers' role was not on a large scale during the civil disobedience movement. Tomorrow, we will discuss about the limits of the civil disobedience movement. Limitations means who were those sections of the society who were just away from the Congress and they were not supporting the civil disobedience movement. We will discuss about the 2 categories, very important categories of the society. First, I told you about the Dalits. We will study about the role of B.R. Ambedkar in uniting the Dalits. And we will also discuss about what Muslims thought of civil disobedience movement, because for a long time in our chapter we have not discussed, after Khilafat, we have not discussed what was happening in the Muslim League. So tomorrow we will dwell upon these 2 topics, the Dalits and the Muslim League, their role in the civil disobedience movement. Till then, you prepare your notes and we will meet again with a new energy and new topics. Goodbye.